So working on the Corvette again today. A lot's been happening since the last time I updated anything on the Corvette. Done a whole lot of work to the truck, but time to circle back around and give the Corvette some love. Truck's dependable, roadworthy, usable, and now it's time to switch my focus back over to the Corvette. A couple new additions to the workshop. Got me a new stool, got me a high lift, I don't know what you call that, under hoist safety stand or whatever it is. Super nice from Harbor Freight. It's got a ball bearing, what do you call it? Ball bearing screw adjuster right there, and it's adjustable. Whoops, adjustable right here to pin it in place. Turns out that's about the perfect height to work under my hoist. That is just way better than the other thing I had. But what I'm going to be doing to the Corvette today is actually motor mounts, training mounts, and a shifter. It's starting to vibrate pretty bad, and I'm going to be taking some time off work here in the next week or two to actually do the clutch and the torque tube rebuild. And I've got some upgrades on the way for the clutch and everything. So, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the motor mounts and throw in a new shifter, because what happens is whenever you get on it, you can probably hear in some of my videos, the shifter rattles really bad. And from 05 to 07, the way the shifter worked is it basically just had a through pin. So there's a, and I'll show you guys, but basically there's a pole with a notch cut in it. The shifter just slides on over that, and a screw goes through that notch cut in the shifter, and it rattles really bad. So I actually went with an MGW speed stick shifter, something. I got the lower box and everything. So I'm going to be upgrading the shifter because that one won't vibrate. All the tolerances are a lot tighter. All the bushings will be new. And the ball, the shifter knob, is actually a screw down, so it can't vibrate. And what I chose for the motor mounts, I actually went with Hinson Motorsports. Just because they've been around a lot longer, they've got a lot more people that trust them. And so I got the training mounts, and I got the engine mounts. So got full urethane mounts. And basically the reason I decided to do that was because you can feel it when you tap the gas. You can feel the whole car shake. Which I guess is normal, but I haven't changed the cam. I haven't changed anything about the engine itself. All I did was bolted the turbo kit on it. So it's got almost 100,000 miles on it. I guess it's just time to freshen up all of the mounts. And I'm going to be doing an energy suspension urethane bushing kit all the way around. Every bushing I can possibly replace in this Corvette is going to get energy suspension urethane bushings. Because when it comes in on the boost, especially whenever you're getting down on it, you can actually feel the car shift sideways, and you have to correct it with the steering wheel. And doing some research, it's basically just the bushings are worn out and they're giving too much. So right now, I'm just going to get to it. Basically 4 bolts right here, and then there's a bolt or a nut right here, and one back there a little bit further. Same right here, there's one right there, and then one on the other side, and then these 4 nuts. And then basically you just pick up the tranny. My thinking is something like that. Here's the tranny, and back there is the diff case. This is the tranny right here. So this should work out. Basically, just try to lift it up and see what happens. So it's lifting just fine. Okay, so you can see it's lifting right there. So we'll see how this goes. There's about 1/4 of an inch right there that has to come up. So I don't know. Never done this before. I'll report back in a second. So I've got it just about to the point where they will come out. But in order to do that, I didn't want to just lift up and lift up and lift up right there. Number one, there's not that much clearance between the top of the tranny and the body. And number two, I don't want to torque. I don't want to put pressure on the torque tube and bend it like that. So what I did was I loosened these 4 bolts. There's one right here and one right here. And that dropped the subframe that the tranny is bolted to. It gave me enough to torque that thing sideways, so I'm going to try to just pop it out. Hopefully that's enough to where I can almost. You know what, maybe I should go the other way with it. Instead of coming this way, maybe I should go that way. Let me try that. You can't drop the subframe low enough to get those bolts out of there. So what I did is I took a quick measurement of these lower bolts and the lower bolts on the new mounts, and the new mounts come with shorter bolts. So basically I just cut, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch off of the base of the old mounts, and now they actually come out. Well, my oil line with the turbos is in the way. There we go. That's what the old mount looks like. They're actually not in as bad a shape as I thought, but definitely 100,000 miles, definitely 12 years old. So let's put the new one in. Here's a little benchtop comparison. Here's the Hinson versus the factory mount. And comparison between the bolt sizes. You can see the Hinson on the top bolt is the same size. On the bottom bolt, it's actually a hair shorter, which is fine because these stupid things stick through the bottom. They're like a 1/2 inch more than they need. So let's throw this guy in real quick. New one going in. It's really difficult to do this one-handed. Let's see if I can get it. So I think I need it to be on that side so that it will actually drop in. Ouch. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed. Was to put that guy in first, kind of rock it that way, and it dropped in. So now I've just got to tighten up these bolts right here, cinch up the subframe, and then lower this down on top of it. Alright, I got them back in there, got the subframe tightened up, and one thing worth noting is you have to save your old nuts. The Hinson mounts don't come with them, and there's enough there where it's gonna bite into the lock part of the nut, but not enough where it's gonna be a pain if you ever have to change them or you don't like them. I'm actually gonna leave these two out because going up front to the motor mounts, I'm gonna have to tilt the engine up, and I want that to be able to give. I want those to be able to give like that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I got the boost tubes out from underneath there. Now it's just a matter of really a bolt right there, right there, right there, and right there after I support the engine. Then the whole thing should drop down. So I didn't pop for the $40 heat shields on these mounts, which I'm not 100% sure you need anyway, because in the car they've got a heat shield that goes over the top right here. But they sell them, so I've actually got some header wrap left over from whenever I did the exhaust, so I just wrapped it around. I did 2 wraps all the way around the mounts, and then put the clamps, the stainless steel clamps. So I actually tried to drop the subframe, and that did not give me enough clearance. It only gave me about 1/2 inch. That's all the clearance I could spare. And then whenever I jacked up the engine actually hits right up there. So I didn't even get enough out of it to clear the top bolt. So instead what I'm doing is taking out the 3 bolts. So there's 2 bolts right there, and there's a 3rd bolt right there, which I already got out. Instead I'm going to take those 3 bolts out and take this mount out, the bracket out. So I'm about to lift up the engine just a little bit to take the pressure off of it so that I can get the mount out of there. Now I've got the engine lifted up, even though I've got the subframe down, all that stuff. There's not enough room. See if I can get the camera in here. Not enough room because it's hitting the freaking exhaust manifold. And it's not a situation where I can just cut the bolts. Because if I cut the bolts on the new mounts are the same size. So, looks like what I should have done the whole time is just take out the exhaust manifold. So that's a big giant waste of time. So that's what I'm going to get started. I guess I'll put the rest of the car underneath back together and take out the exhaust manifold. I was able to get them out, which they're not in too terribly bad a shape. Here's the little heat shield I was talking about. But basically what I did was I dropped this down even more and went up one more pump on the jack, and it gave me just enough space. So, super happy about that. Oh my gosh. I did not want to do all this work and then take the exhaust manifold out. So on this side, the passenger side, I actually had to take the air conditioner compressor loose because this thing was tucked up right underneath a little tiny lip, and it barely cleared the factory bolts. And then it's got to squish some wires over here to get it out. Well, I hope. Seriously? There we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, please don't tell me. Okay, good. Ugh. There we go, finally. Oh, please tell me it's got enough room. There we go. Okay, good. Now the new one, the poly mounts, there's 2 holes where it mounts to the subframe. On mine, they go in the holes in the front. I think the other hole is for the Z06 version, where the motor is mounted a little bit different. now this guy's gonna go back in there, hopefully. What a chore. What a chore. So I got my oil pressure sending unit back in there, and turns out that the Hinson motor mounts are actually taller than the factory motor mounts, which I wish I had known that. I ordered the factory height for the base C6, and it's still taller than the factory motor mounts. I wish I had ordered the shorter ones, because they have factory height, and then short ones is what they say. They're not actually factory height. It shouldn't throw anything else off. God, I hope not, but I guess we'll see once I get in there and start tearing things apart. So I actually took it for a test drive. We drove it to the gym the day after I got that night whenever I got the motor mounts and everything in. The vibration that I was feeling before got way worse. And whenever you let off the gas with it in gear, it clunks really bad. So I haven't driven it since then, and the gym is only about 3 miles away. So tonight, I'm actually putting it up on the lift again, and I'm going to start ripping the torque tube out. I went and got me a high lift tranny jack from Harbor Freight. I think that was like 180 bucks. And then I've got the high lift jack stand. So I'm going to use those to tear those out. And then if they end up sitting there for 6 months, I'll sell them. Probably get just about as much as I paid for them. And so the other thing is my Hinson, or not Hinson, I'm sorry, what is this? It's the, what's it called? Oh my, it's on here. Anyway, MGW, yeah, I got my MGW shifter. So that's going to be going in there. I got the lower box, got all that stuff. Got all my parts, which I still have not installed, all my bearings and stuff. Got the guibos. And one other bonus. I decided, after seeing how much work it's going to take to actually get the torque tube rebuilt, I decided to go ahead and put a new clutch in it. So yesterday or the day before, I actually just ordered the K-Tech ZR1 clutch conversion kit. So unfortunately, I wasted my money on this guy, 100 bucks or whatever it is, on this and this, because the K-Tech clutch kit actually comes with one of these just a little bit shorter, because the ZR1 clutch is actually a twin disc clutch, so it's thicker, so that has to be shorter. So the kit comes with an aluminum flywheel, which is 12 or 15 pounds lighter, whatever, than the factory steel one. It comes with the ZR1 GM part number ZR1 clutch, twin disc clutch. Comes with the slave cylinder, comes with the alignment tool, comes with new bolts for the flywheel, comes with all kinds of little goodies. Unfortunately, it was almost 1,800 bucks with shipping and tax and all that. Oh, and I ordered the remote bleeder for it also, because if I got it out, I only want to have to do this one time. So that's on its way. It's supposed to be here on Monday. I'm taking a long weekend for Memorial Day, and I'm going to be working hard. I'm going to try to get that torque tube rebuilt and back in the Corvette over that weekend so that I can actually drive the thing and turn the boost up. Right now, I've got the boost set at wastegate pressure, which is 4 PSI, so it's kind of boring. Whenever I first was tuning it with the tuner, I actually put it up to 8 psi one time, and oh my gosh, it is alive at 8 psi. And my goal is 10 psi. I should have enough injector, I should have enough fuel, so we'll see. But I don't want to turn it up until I've got the frame and the clutch and everything tightened up, until I've got everything freshened up. I don't want to break anything. So that's coming down the pipe. And just one little teaser, I've still got tons of video to post on Project Dakota, just so you guys know where Project Dakota is. That is a smaller pulley. So I've got some more videos and stuff I'll be posting about Project Dakota. They're both going to be getting dynoed this summer. I'm going to make it happen this summer. So with the baby on the way, I got to get this stuff knocked out because I won't have time to play. So I've got about 8 weeks to get the truck finished and get the Corvette finished before I'm not really going to have any time to play other than to drive them. So that's where I'm at with the motor mounts. They're in, they're done. Now we're moving on. And I'm not going to put the shifter in because you actually have to take the shifter out to get the torque tube out. So I'm going to do that all at the same time. So stay tuned for more.